Hello again, my little conscripts, and welcome to another Mordian Glory Warhammer 40k video. In today's episode, we are going to be taking a look at the new Jump Pack Tempestus Scions that have been revealed by Games Workshop. Now, primarily, these models are part of the new season of Kill Team, but inevitably, I think they will find their way into 40k proper. And even if they don't, these models are so cool that I think many Guard players are going to pick them up to use them in their main armies. But that's enough preamble from me. Let's not mess around. Let's deep dive this article and see what it has got in store for us. Good news, everyone! Bolt Action 3rd edition is just around the corner. And the best way that you can prepare for this new and exciting edition of one of my favourite games of all time is by getting yourself some new Bolt Action miniatures. But where can you get these models? Well, don't worry, I've got you covered. There's an affiliate link down in the description below that'll take you straight to the Warlord Games website, and you can get your World War II miniature fix right from the source. By using the affiliate link down in the description below, not only will you be getting some awesome models, but you will also be supporting the channel. A massive thank you to Warlord Games for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back into the action. So the first thing that we see is the box that these models are going to be coming in, and this is Kill Team Hivestorm. This set is going to include both new Tempestus Scion models and also new Vespid Stingwings. These are long overdue, and as cool as the Scions are, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of hype around these new Vespid. They are one of the cooler Tau Auxilia races, one that hasn't been fleshed out after such a cool premise when they were introduced into the game, and it's great to see these old models being rejuvenated and revitalized in quite a horrifying way. When you look at the details on these models, which we will do later on, they creep me out, they gross me out. So it's kind of like, congrats GW, I hate them, they're disgusting, good job. Now GW has confirmed that this box contains 22 new models, and if you go through the different models, and we'll be looking at them in detail in but a moment, it looks like there are 10 infantry on each side, and then both sides get a drone or a servitor of some kind as well. Games Workshop also confirms that Kill Team Hivestorm is not just a new expansion, it is the launch of the whole new edition of Kill Team. So this is going to be the poster boy box. This is going to be front and center of the new season, new edition of Kill Team. And I have to say, it feels kind of cool. It feels kind of right that this new season of Kill Team is starting with Guard in the starter box. I don't know if that's a statement of intent. One can hope that if this goes well, GW might include Guard in a 40k starter set. Maybe 11th edition will be the poster child. Who knows? I doubt. I mean, they're always going to have Space Marines on the front, aren't they? But it would be crazy, right? GW's like, you know what? That Scion Kill Team did so well, having them in the front starting runner box set. Why don't we have Guard as the starter set in 11th edition? Oh, chance would be a fine thing indeed. But that is almost 100% wishful thinking. But you know what? I have been blueballing you guys too hard. I have been edging you guys enough in this video. Let's get into the models themselves. And we are going to get a look at the new Tempestus Aquilons. Now, these Aquilons are a little bit different to your regular Scions. Whilst they all are part of the Scholar Progenium and the Militarum Tempestus, Aquilons are differentiated from Scions because they go into battle exclusively using their jetpacks, or should I say, grav shoots. Now, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like Games Workshop has always kept grav shoots a little bit ambiguous over the years. Sometimes when they're talked about in the lore, it almost feels like they're parachutes, or they're like rappelling out of a flyer of some kind. And sometimes, like in the case of one of the Gaunt's Ghost books, grav shoots have been like jump packs and stuff. So it's cool to finally get a bit of clarification around that. And I think for a lot of us, we probably assumed grav shoots were some kind of like fancy guard jetpack. It's something that people have been asking for forever. I can tell you right now, I've been playing this game far too long. And the number one thing that comes up in every single guard wishlist thread on any forum ever, and especially in those like, oh, how would you expand the Scion range? Number one idea at the top of every single one of those threads, number one upvoted thing is we wish we had Scions with jetpacks, having some sort of guard infantry unit that can jet around the battlefield, you know, whether it's legions, whether it's Scions, having something that's a little bit faster. It doesn't need to be tougher, but it's a little bit faster to cover that gap in the guard roster. Well, guys, it is finally here. Now, of course, we don't know how this kill team is going to translate over into 40k proper, if it ever does. But if it does, I think it's going to be a very, very welcome addition, and it's going to be another tool in the toolbox for us guard players. But with that said, now let's get into some of the nitty-gritty detail of these new models. And the first two that we can see is the Tempestus and the Gunfighter. Now, the Tempestus is your typical sergeant and squad leader style character, and it looks like in this box set they are going to come equipped with a hotshot las pistol and a power sword. Now, I am going to be excited to know if we can swap this hotshot las pistol out for a bolt pistol or a plas pistol. That's going to be very important both in 40k and in kill team, because hotshot weapons are decent in those games. They're okay, but having access to extra plasma is always a good thing. As someone who's played a bit of kill team, whenever you come across Space Marines and you don't have plasma or meld to deal with them, it goes sideways very, very quickly. So I'm hoping that we won't be limited with this pistol. But the rest of the model looks really, really good. We've got a crackling power sword there. Can never go wrong with having more power weapons in your army. And also, we've, of course, got the details on these jetpacks. What I really like about these jetpacks is they're kind of big and bulky, but there's all of these areas where it looks like they've been trimmed down over like a traditional like Space Marine jump pack to make them actually possible for humans, regular humans, to use them. Now, I know there is going to be one or two things about these models that people aren't going to be super happy about. Firstly, every single one of them does seem to be stood on some sort of tactical rock. Tactical rocks are always a bit of a divisive one. They do look good and they're like heroic and they're sort of posing, but everyone's sort of taking their own bit of terrain piece with them. Yeah, some people like that stuff, some people don't. I imagine that it'd be fairly simple to adjust these poses to have them on maybe not quite as prominent pieces of tactical rocks. And the other thing that some people might not be super happy about is the Scions have maintained their sort of Baroque style armor. Personally, when Scions were first revealed, I didn't really like the new armor. I say new, it's been around for ages. But recently, it has very much grown on me. And what's interesting is, as we have seen Primaris Marines come out and them getting smoother and smoother and less gothic, my appreciation for the Scion sort of grim dark style armor has really gone up. So if I had to choose between the two, I'm going to take these guys. Now, there is some areas, though, that I think GW has actually toned the sort of breastplates. They've toned that sort of Baroque nature, that Gothic nature of the armor down a little bit, but not too much. So we've still got all of the trim and all that kind of stuff. But if you notice, because we've got these sort of pipes going around the center here, we haven't got like the giant cuirass style breastplate. It seems like a little bit more like almost a little segment of like half plate on the front. And if you notice, the boots as well have been changed so that they're not armored boots anymore. They're actually, they almost remind me of the boots that like the Americans wore in like World War II, where they've got the cloth around the boots. I'm not sure exactly what it's called. Gaiters, maybe. Some historical person will be able to tell me down in the comment section. But I feel like they've kept a lot of that style of the Scions, but they've toned it down just a little bit, and that really, really works for me. It feels gothic whilst not feeling over the top, and there's a few historical references which are thrown in there, which is always a good thing for guard models. The other model that we have here is the Gunfighter, dual wielding akimbo las pistols, baby, and I'd say I love it. Dual wielding is something that has been really popularized by sort of movies and like video games, and yet it's something that you just don't see all that much of in Warhammer. In fact, outside of the Seraphim with their dual pistols and Cypher with his dual pistols, I really can't think of many 40k models that actually do it. So it's cool to have that sort of Hollywood style like Kimbo guns running around, and I really like what they've done with the new Hotshot Las pistols. The fact that they've got these little box mags on the bottom, I see those on the Tempest as well. I like it. I feel like the old Hotshot Las pistol was a bit wimpy looking, was a bit weedy. It just didn't do it for me. This new pistol, it kind of looks like the classic one, but with a cool box magazine attached to it. Next up, we have got the Gunner and the Marksman. Now, the Gunner, there's a couple of cool details on here. Firstly, we've got this melter gun, except for it's not a melter gun, it's a melter carbine. Oh, yes! Adding carbines into the Guard has been something that I've been wanting for ages. And I know it seems like a really specific thing, but if you look at a lot of armies in Modern Warfare, and I know trying to have Modern Warfare in 40k, it doesn't work, right? Like, it's sci-fi. But 40k has also always had little callbacks and little references, whether they're historical or whether they're on the nose, to things that are happening in real life. And the idea that everyone's got around these really big, bulky melter guns and big, bulky plasma guns, yeah, maybe, but armies like Scions would have carbine versions of it. The regular Guard are going to run the bulky stuff because they're kind of like World War I, World War II in space, right? But Scions are meant to be much more like our sort of modern special forces and that kind of stuff. And so them having those weapons that are better on the move, fast, agile, speed, fires, momentum, all that kind of stuff is really good. So seeing the melter carbine makes me very, very excited. And I wonder how that will translate both rules-wise for Kill Team and also for 40k. On top of the weapon, we've also got a look at the new wrist-mounted sort of data slate kind of thing for the Scions. This is something that has been part of Stormtrooper models for as long as I can remember. You go back to the old 3rd edition sort of VAX suitor troops. They also had these like wrist-mounted like data slates, and I really like the style they've gone for here because obviously there's a technological aspect to it. We've got lights on it, we've got all sorts of cool stuff, but then this really feels old school. It feels steampunk. This feels like an old dial, like not a digital readout, like an actual physical like mechanical dial on there. So I really like this combination of sort of digital and mechanical. And I really like how that sort of feeds into the Scion models as a whole, how they feel very fast and they feel very elite and feel very techno, but they're wearing sort of gothic plates and that kind of stuff. Scions really seem to be leaning into that sort of comfortable halfway house between sort of steampunk, diesel punk, and traditional sort of 40k sort of gothic sci-fi. They're really balancing that kind of stuff, and I like a little bit of steampunk in there. Not too much, because I do think that steampunk, diesel punk, that kind of stuff is more the realms of the Adeptus Mechanicus, but having a little bit on the Scions who are meant to have better gear, who are meant to have, you know, maybe that stuff that the Adeptus Mechanicus wouldn't dare give to regular guardsmen, but pull some strings and maybe you can get some for your Scions. I do like that a lot. So just that tiny detail, and it also differentiates them a little bit from the current Scion models as well. We've also got the Marksman model here, and for all intents and purposes, this is basically a standard Tempestus Scion, or Tempestus Aquilon, I should say. We've got the hotshot rifle and we've got the scope. What I think stands out for me here is there's no power cables. One of the things that I think every single Scion player that I know, apart from maybe if you're using the hotshot volley guns, that you never bothered connecting the power cables to the backpacks. It just was fiddly and it made it hard to paint the model, and it just didn't look as good as just having like a magazine. Like these power cables, no, not for me. So seeing GW sort of sack that off is kind of cool. But what's also kind of interesting is the fact that this is now like an actual sniper rifle. It's like an actual marksman's rifle. One of the big criticisms that I saw of the current Tempestus Scion models, the ones for 40k, is that they've all got these sort of short carbine style weapons, and they've all got these like big scopes on them. And a very common conversion for Scions was basically to get these big scopes, because this is what you find on all the current Scion models, and just to chop that bit off and chop that bit off, and you were left with basically a very simple red dot sight. Pretty much everyone did that. And it's kind of cool that, as you'll see later on, Games Workshop has got some guys with scopes, but they've got a lot of guys with carbines. And I think that is, it shows that Games Workshop actually does have their finger on the button a little bit. They do have their finger on the pulse a little bit from the community. They're receiving that feedback, and they're actually taking it on board, which is rare. Games Workshop doesn't tend to do anything like that. I mean, maybe I'm being a bit facetious, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, demonizing them, but we all know that Games Workshop tends to do what Games Workshop wants to do. But having the difference between like the sniper scopes and the marksman and the carbines, and having the armor toned down a little bit, that all speaks to them being aware of some of the criticisms, some of the feedback they've had over Scions, and taking this as an opportunity to address that and fix it. Next in line, we have a couple of models that I feel are going to be somewhat more suited and specialized towards the kill team game, and may not have like proper full-blown rules that transfer over into 40k. They might get something. We've got the Precursor and the Grenadier. Now, the Precursor looks like a Scion who has got a pistol and a dagger. Now, what I really like about this model is the dagger is mounted on the chest. That's so cool. We've all seen films where like some badass action hero's got like a dagger like up here. Who remembers like Emil from like Halo Reach? He's got his dagger there, his kukri. He's like, you know, that's having a dagger in a cool place can be quite a defining point of like a model or a character. And so I really like that about this model here. And then we've got the Grenadier, and okay, again, I know I'm speaking from my own experience here, and but I'm also speaking from like what I've seen other Guard players do. I think every single person who has bought Scions at some point, who's got a full Scion army, has made a Grenadier dude, because that kit comes with so many grenades. And I know that I've got a few Grenadier dudes in my Scion army where like literally there's grenades everywhere. And so it's really cool that Games Workshop has actually made a Grenadier dude. Again, I can't help but feel that it's a bit of a nod to what the community's been doing and some of the cool models that people have done. But yeah, it's very common when you're building your Scions to use all of the spare grenades to make a Grenadier dude, and now we've got one. He's also got a melter bomb, which is kind of cool. Now, with these models, I do wonder what the Precursor might be if it comes over to 40k. It might just be one Scion has to have a las pistol and dagger, and you don't get any benefit from it. It's just one of those weird ones. The Grenadier, I definitely think we could see essentially be like the Melter Mine from Kazakhin. But either way, I love these models, and having a badass knife wielder, I think this is going to be your sort of close combat guy in kill team. And the Grenadier, well, of course, he's going to be throwing loads of grenades around, isn't he? So that covers pretty much all of the specialists, but we do have a few extra models to bulk out our kill team, and there are these 4 trooper sculpts. First one here, we can see he's doing a little jet boost off a bit of protruding pipe, using that jetpack not just to get onto the battlefield, but around the battlefield. That's kind of cool. I think this might be my favorite pose out of all of them in the box set. It feels very much like a propaganda poster, like, yes, he's doing his part, like, ooh, that kind of stuff. Yeah, the Scions are striking the enemy. Fight now for the Imperium and all that kind of stuff. You too could be a Scion. It just feels very, very like action hero pose. And I like that about Scions. The big toy soldiers showing off. I like it. Also, we can see he does have a proper big box mag on his gun, and he does have that trimmed down red dot sight that we were talking about before. This model here personally feels like that perfect blend we were talking about of the old Scion look, combining it with some of the changes they've made with these new Scions. We've then got this chap here, and the dreaded power cables are back. I'm guessing GW put that in there because they know some people like the power cables, some crazy masochist types, but personally I think I'm probably going to be snipping these power cables off when I get my hands on these models. But they're both very, very cool, and the main takeaway here I think is we can see we've got that trimmed down sort of red dot sight style thing rather than having the big scope. And I hope that if Games Workshop does ever remaster the current Scion kit for 40k, that we get these kind of little quality of life improvements translating over. One other thing to mention about these new guns is they are definitely shorter. If we look at this gun here, we see we've got these two metal clasps here around the heat shroud. If we go back to the marksman, we can see that there are three little clasps there. So the marksman definitely has a hotshot rifle, and the troopers definitely have hotshot carbines, significantly smaller and shorter. And just to confirm, these carbines are shorter than the current Scion ones. As we can see here, there are three clasps on these longer hotshot rifles with these scopes. So the Aquilons definitely have that shorter carbine, not just within their box set, but within the wider scope of the game as well. Going back to the kill team box though, we can see we've got a couple of other trooper poses as well. A guy jetpacking off a little bit of pipe here, except for he's got his gun sort of across his chest rather than aiming forward. And again, he's got that sort of box mag, and we get a really, really good look at the red dot sight style thing here. Now, what's interesting is there does appear to be a little bit of a cable here, a little sort of electronic cable here. I suspect that this is kind of like a gun camera. So if the Scion wants to put his gun round a corner and see what's round there, he can see through that scope, because there'll be like a heads-up display in his helmet. That's kind of badass. I do like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see some people cut some of those cables off and they want to see them as like an actual sort of smaller scope. Maybe not like a red dot sight, but like a SUSAT. I don't think they even use SUSATs anymore. ACOG, that's what I'm thinking of. Maybe some sort of ACOG or something like that. Some sort of smaller aiming assist optic rather than like the iron sights or the big, you know, scopes that we've seen on the traditional rifles of the Scions. Interestingly though, it does seem like that all of the troopers apart from one, this chap here, have the new box magazines rather than the cables. And interestingly, none of the infantry seem to have hotshot volley guns. Now, there's a hotshot volley gun in here, but we'll get to that in a moment. But it seems like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 with rifles. And then we've got 1, 2, is that 1, 2, 3, 4 with pistols. And then there is one chap with a melter, or potentially a plasma carbine, and we've got one chap with a sniper rifle. I am a little concerned about that, because if it means that there's only like one guy in 10 that can take a special weapon, like a proper special weapon, like a ranged special weapon, that could have some implications for how effective this kill team could be, both in 40k and in kill team. In kill team, having a lot of special weapons is very important. Like, I've tried running a lot of the guard kill team, running the veteran guardsman kill team, and I found it didn't matter how many lasgun guys I had, it didn't make a difference when I came across someone a little bit more elite. So I'm hoping that there are going to be a few more options for special weapons on these basic troopers, but also in 40k, like, having a Scion squad that can like drop down is all well and good, but if the only thing they're dropping down with is hotshot rifles, that's going to be less good. I'm hoping that there will be some other options for special weapons in here, or this kill team may lack a little bit of punch. However, I might be worrying about nothing, because it seems like the power of this kill team is going to come from the Servo Sentry. This is quite possibly my favorite Scion model of all time. When I saw the trailer come out and I saw this thing land down and just massacre an entire squad of Pathfinders, I have to admit I did have a somewhat uncomfortable feeling in my trousers. This thing is just badass, and the design of it feels so right for 40k. Because it's got these little scuttling legs, it sort of scuttles about on, making it a little bit creepy. But also, like, it's obviously very robotic and technological, but it's an imperial piece of technology at the end of the day. So there's a servo skull. There's a servo skull, and it's in its own little sort of mini church arch. It's really good. What I find so horrifying about this model, and what I love about the fact that this is kind of going into, Imperium versus Tau sort of kill team, is it does show that the Imperium does use servitors beyond just like, stacking things on shelves and, gun serves, stuff like that. Servitors are actually a really big part of Imperial society, and they use them in all sorts of different ways. And not all of the ways they're going to use them are going to be, I don't know if this is the right word, but like anthropomorphical. That's definitely not the right word. But they're not always going to be human looking. There is a human brain in this thing. That it's a servo sentry. It's not a robot. The Imperium doesn't believe in having, AI or anything like that. The Imperium, does not trust the machines. So there is a human brain behind this thing, like, and it is piloting it, and I think that's pretty horrendous. So I just think this is so 40k. It's grim dark, it looks gothic, but also it works, like I said before, it's a little nod to how important drones and robotics are in like modern warfare. We're seeing that in like modern conflicts, like drones being a really big thing, and it's kind of cool that GW is sort of touching on that with not just the Tau having like drones, but other factions having little robots and little assistants and stuff like that. So I really like this, and the fact that it comes with the hotshot volley gun. I mean, it looks big for hotshot volley gun. I wouldn't be surprised that's some sort of hotshot cannon, which would be badass if it is. And then we've also got a heavy flamer, and we've got a grenade launcher. All of these options look awesome, and I personally, I'm looking forward to getting a few of these in my collection for sure. Underneath all of these pictures, there is a little bit of flavor text. Like their fellow Scions, Aquilons are equipped with finely wrought card-based armor and armed primarily with hotshot las weapons. Most commonly, hotshot las carbines. Yes, carbines are cool. They hit much harder than standard Imperial las gun. Their preferred strategy of dropping right in the middle of the enemy lines requires intense close quarters training, leading many units to deploy specialists armed with melter carbines, plasma carbines, and other short-ranged weapons. So we are going to get more than, I think, just the weapon options we've seen in this article. I think we are going to see Scions with multiple special weapons and with things like a lot more carbine-based weaponry, which definitely ticks a lot of boxes for me. But it's not just about the new Scions. We have got some new Vespid Stingwings as well. And as someone who loves the Guard and who traditionally does not like Tau, I think it should be a great testament to how cool I think these models are, that I really like them. I genuinely think these are some of the best alien looking models that Games Workshop has put out there, because they look creepy. They're creepy, they're Xenos, they're very different. They've got a really unique design and feel to them within the 40k universe. And I think it really goes to show what Games Workshop can do when they kind of let those creative juices flow and they really get into it with making things look alien. Now, I have to admit, I've always had a bit of a soft spot for Vespid because I found them quite an interesting concept. When Games Workshop introduced them to the Tau, I think it was in their 4th or 5th edition codex, they really sort of built up this cool society, and there was a bit of a mention like how, with the Tau being totally honest with the Vespid, because they put these like helmets on them to help them like translate like their language and the Tau language, but there's lots of implications about how they're basically mind controlling the brood leaders with these things, and Vespid being like insectoids, they've got that hive mind, so if the leader says something, they just do as they're told. So it was sort of the first hints at the Tau maybe being not the goody-goody two-shoes that they had first been introduced as. And then Games Workshop sort of did nothing with it. They didn't do anything with this concept. And so I'm hoping that we've seen Games Workshop do a lot with the Kroot, and I'm hoping we're going to see some love for the Vespid as well. But moving on to the models themselves, and I think it is fair to say that these aren't just a slight improvement. These aren't a little bit of tweaking. These are a full-blown remaster, and they are completely and utterly different to the current 40k Vespid models, and they look phenomenal. Right from the get-go, you look at these guys and they're creepy. They're creepy, they're alien, they're buggy, they're other. And they look really, really good. They're very, very insectoid. Do you know what these guys remind me of? Star Trek Enterprise Insectoid Xindi. Now, I know that's probably going to be a bit of an out there reference, but I'm getting similar sort of vibes from these models. But speaking of which, we really should actually have a quick look at what you get with the Vespid. So we've got a Sky Blast. This seems to be some kind of plasma-based grenade launcher. We've got the Strayed Leader, and he has got the mind control mask on there, and he's got his classic Vespid blaster. We've got the Long Sting, which is, of course, some kind of sniper. Kind of cool how it looks like a rail sniper, but then I'm seeing like the crystal stuff down here. So maybe it's not a tower weapon that's just been adapted, because there's like this attachment on it to make it so the Vespid can actually use it. But it's also actually using the Vespid crystal technology. That's cool. We've got a couple of combinations of things here. We've got the Swarm Guard, and if I were a betting man, I would say that is a flamer right there. We've got the Shade Strain. This is a Tau stealth suit Vespid. Oh man. Oh man, oh man. Yes, 1,000 times. Yes, stealth suits are the coolest suits, especially the old ones. You know, the old metal ones, the XV15s, I think it was. But a stealthy Vespid, I love that. I think one of the things GW should lean into with the Tau more is the stealth technology. The actual like full-blown invisibility, the active camouflage. I'm sure it would get very frustrating in 40k having the entire army to stealth stuff, but from just a pure rule of cool concept, that would be really badass to see them embrace less big stompy battlesuits and more stealthy agile battlesuits. So yeah, definitely loving the Shade Strain. This guy right here is making me want to get a Vespid kill team. Just, I don't know why, I just love this idea of a stealthy bug boy. Then we've got some classic warriors. They seem to just have your Vespid pulse carbines. Well, they're probably not pulse blasters, I think they're called. And they're in various different poses. Some of them are leaping through the air. Some of them are on tactical rocks. But all of them are looking pretty scary. I do really like just the color scheme that Games Workshop's gone here. The sort of work, they're almost like bees and sort of termites, sort of ants all in one, but I really like the different hues of oranges and browns, and how it's like darker on like the carapace areas, and it's sort of softer on this underbelly here. Also, we can see there's a big stinger on these Vespids, so hopefully if you look through, there is a lack of like dedicated sort of melee specialist in this group. Hopefully it's because each one of these Vespid can do something half decent in combat thanks to their stingers. We've got another couple of warriors here. We've got this cheeky chappy aiming his gun, sort of hip firing it. And we've got this cheeky chappy who's looking at us very intimidatingly. I tell you what, man, I do find that these Vespid, they look kind of cute. I don't know why, but I feel like they're grinning at me. They've got a cheeky smile on their face. This guy just looks really, really pleased to be like just blasting some Scions to death. But I think it is all about the angle which they look at. Like from this angle, he looks like he's smiling. From this angle, he looks like he's really, really pissed off and wants to eat you. Now, what's interesting is not only do these Vespid have wings, but it also looks like they've got little jump packs to help them as well. You can sort of see hints of these throughout the different models. You see this sort of big black tube coming down here on this one. You can see a little bit of white on the back of this one and this one, and a little bit of white on the back of this one. There's definitely hints that there are little jetpacks on the back of these Vespid. I wonder if that is maybe because the Vespid wings on their own are kind of good at like hovering and stuff and like flying around, but if they just want like a little boost, they can just use the little jump pack on the back. The last model we have here is the Oversight Drone. This is kind of cool. We have seen many different drones in 40k before. We have, especially with the Tau, we've had gun drones, shield drones, missile drones, recon drones, all sorts of drones with guns or defensive properties. But this is the first time I think we've seen a drone, even the recon drone's got a big Gatling gun. It's the first time we've seen a drone that kind of just looks like a little spy drone. And that is very, very, very relevant for a lot of the sort of modern warfare that we're seeing today, where individual units will just have like little quadcopters, like attached to a like sort of mobile, sort of throw them up there and just sort of have a look around, rather than having to poke the head out of the trench or having a periscope like back in the days. You sort of just throw your quadcopter up and just have a look, see what's going on. I also like the idea that maybe this is being used by the Vespid, but maybe this is also being used by the Tau. Keep an eye on the Vespid to make sure that the mind control is still in effect. But I have to say, out of the two drones, this one and then this one, I know which one I'd rather have in my kill team. The one with the giant skull and the big Makov cannon. As with the Scions, there's a bit of extra text here confirming a few of the things that we have speculated about. So the MV-44 Oversight drone is essentially a recon drone that the Tau used to control the Strain Leader with his communion mask. And also, they have got some new weapons. That is a neutron grenade launcher. That's something that seems brand new. So it'll be cool to see how that all translates on the tabletop. And the Ghost Rigs are stealthy bugs. So we do have our invisible bug buddy as well. There's a bit of extra detail here as well regarding the terrain that you get in the box set. Terrain is always a key part of Kill Team because it really does add to the immersion of the different environments that you're fighting in. And this seems to be like some good old-fashioned urban terrain of a hive city that both sides are fighting over. Although there do appear to be a few sort of cool extra bits in here, such as we've got some barbed wire. We've got these cool like smoke grenades that are like spilling their smokes out. I really, really like that. And we've got a few other bits like barricades and whatnot. Some of these will be new. Some of these are going to be eminently familiar to players of Kill Team. On top of all that, GW has said that this box is going to come with all of the different cards that you need to play your match play games of Kill Team, and this will also include different terrain layouts. Now, I've not played Kill Team in a year or so, and when I played it, there was no fixed terrain layouts or anything like that. So this seems like maybe a bit of the 40k competitive aspect bleeding into Kill Team, and them going with fixed terrain maps and also going with these combination of missions. I have to say that is something I am not against at all. Some diehard Kill Team players may think this is a bad thing, and hey, you probably know better than I do. I don't play this game all that often. I play it every so often. But one of the things that has really benefited 40k in making it easy for people to pick up games and play match plays, everyone's playing on the same page. Because you go, oh, we'll play Mission Combination 1, or we'll play Mission Combination 2, or there's tournament packs that are well established and well used that people go, oh, we'll play Mission 1 from that tournament pack. So I do like that, and if this is well implemented, it will actually make it very, very possible for me to get into this game on a more regular basis, because it'll just feel that little bit more familiar, and when I'm picking a game up, I'll be able to remember, oh, last time I played Mission 1, so I know what Mission 1 and the combinations are and the terrain layouts are for that. Therefore, it might make it possible for me to cover this game on the channel and like battle report stuff a little bit more regularly. Finally, the box does come with all of your traditional cool Kill Team pop-out tokens, which are used for so many different things throughout the game. Some of these do look pretty different though, and some of them look somewhat familiar. I do like these specific ones for the Vespid because they've got like these crystals, and they've also got like grenade tokens for like the neutron grenades. Maybe it doesn't blow up straight away. Maybe it sort of, you know, launches a grenade and it goes off if you go near it, or goes off like the following turn, making an area that you can't move into. Like having an area denial weapon like that is pretty interesting. Definitely something that I've not seen in Kill Team before, although like I said, I don't have 100% eyes on this game, and definitely something that would be interesting if they have it here, maybe gets translated over into 40k as well. Overall, I have to say, I think Games Workshop has smashed it out of the park with this one. And you guys know, I ain't no GW shill. I criticize them a lot, but I've always said that I'll maintain a very fair stance. When they do something I don't like, I give them a hard time for it. And when they do something I do like, I praise them for it. And this is definitely the latter, and I do like this. I've been meaning to get back into Kill Team, and I'm making no promises, guys, but if this drops and it's easy to pick up, easy to get into, easy to learn, and easy to do battle reports with, then it might be something that I definitely start covering on the channel on a semi-regular basis. This has reignited my love for Kill Team, and I did play it fairly religiously towards the end of 9th edition. And it's definitely something I would consider getting into as we get into that sort of mid part of 10th edition 40k, where, you know, things start calming down a little bit and, you know, things start waxing and waning a little bit. So it'd be cool to have another game that can keep my 40k interest nice and alive. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Are you excited for these new models, the Scions and the Vespids? Do you plan on getting them and playing Kill Team with them, or are you more just planning on getting these for your 40k armies? If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to smash that like button. I know it's a little cringe asking for likes, you know it, I know it, but the YouTube algorithm, it loves likes. It's like a glutton for likes. So if you can press the like button, it would be very, very awesome. And if you want to see more content like this, then don't forget to subscribe to never miss an episode. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing, truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members, so thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Bon Vert, Mad Larkin, Marcus Roberts, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Varney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.